Hi, my name is Mark Weston and I'm Head of Geography at Hayesfield School, and I'm here today to talk to you about A-level geography at Hayesfield. And I'm going to start by sharing my screen with you. So here is a overview of the main topics that we teach in A-level geography years 12 and 13. You will notice there are some familiar topics there, such as tectonic hazards, which you will probably have studied at GCSE, but we will teach to a greater depth in A-level. And there are also some new topics that you might not have looked at before, such as globalization, superpowers, carbon cycle. So there's a variety of different things there. Hopefully the other thing that will stand out is that there's a wide range of interesting topics there across human and physical geography. And one of the things that really makes this interesting, particularly as we go further along and we've studied more, is we start to look at the different links between the topics, what we call the synoptic links. We start to look at, for example, how globalization might be affecting superpowers, how the carbon and water cycles interact, and so on. And that's where it becomes more challenging, more thought-provoking. It will push you, but it also makes it, I think, more rewarding and engaging as well. So lots of really interesting things to get your teeth stuck into with A-level geography. Here is the teaching team at Hayesfield. There's myself there, as well as Mr. Notton, Mr. Gould, and Mrs. Brown, hiding under a woolly hat there. So a really good teaching team. Those of you that have already studied geography at Hayesfield will be familiar with us. Obviously, those of you that haven't won't know us. But a great teaching team who are very supportive and have a great deal of experience between us as well. And we're all involved in teaching A-level geography. I spoke to some of the current A-level geography students and asked them their thoughts on what was good about geography, why they enjoyed it, and why they chose A-level geography. And these are a random selection of some of the responses I got from them. What I found is most students do really enjoy the course. They enjoy the variety of topics we teach. They like the fact that what we're looking at in lessons that they can relate to their everyday lives. They can see the relevance of it. It's things that are happening now, and hopefully that will be the case for you as well if you choose to do A-level geography with us. Looking at the skills we develop in geography, I think that's a real strength of the subject. We really develop a wide skill base and develop independent thought, research and investigation skills, whether that be secondary research and investigation or primary data collection from fieldwork, and then also being able to use that information, analyze it, manipulate it, whether that be numerical data, graphs, maps, photographs. And these skills are really important skills, I think, that you can use later on, either in higher education or in the workplace. And geography is very good for developing these different skills. And I don't think there's a subject out there that has got a wider sort of variety of different skills that it develops, really. One of the things that's really important in geography is, for example, looking at patterns and then trying to describe those, explain them, and understand what's behind them. The next few slides show you some examples of different things we look at in lessons, and these are taken. This one's taken from a year 12 lesson into globalization, where we start looking at maps of air traffic, and it's quite interesting to look at. But then we start to dig into what are the patterns there, and why are some areas very crowded with lots of aircraft and others with very few. What does that tell us about patterns of wealth, population? What does it tell us about the links between different places? What can we learn from that about globalization? So that's an example of one of the kinds of things we might look at, and how we might use data and information to investigate patterns and link them to what we're learning about. Another thing that we do in Year 12 is we look at regenerating places. Within that, we look at things like crime data. So here we've got a police crime map looking at an area of London, and we will look at this data and the patterns of crime, and try and work out, well, what's behind this pattern? Why have certain areas got higher crime rates for particular types of crime? And what might be the reasons behind that? What does that tell us about an area? What does that tell us about the future of that area, or how it needs to change? Finally, here's another example from a topic I'm teaching at the moment, water security. Why is it that some areas have much worse water security than others? What are the human and physical things behind this, the factors that are shaping these patterns that you can see here? And what are the implications for people of these patterns of water security as well? So, one of the things at A level, you will need to think a little bit differently to how you have at GCSE. We will have already, of course, introduced assessment and evaluation at GCSE, but the emphasis placed on those at A level is greater, and being able to assess and evaluate and to consider links between complex ideas and topics is important. Also, understanding different perspectives. Why do different people or groups of people have different views about a particular issue as well? And thinking about the future. So not just what's happening now, how are the things that are happening, the physical and human processes that are going on now, going to continue to shape our world into the future? So, for example, looking at lots of different questions like, how will globalization continue to change the world? What will the future effects of climate change be, and how are we going to respond to those? What's happening to the global superpowers, the rivalry at the moment between the USA and China? How will that play out, for example? So lots of interesting things to look at, lots of real world issues and problems, and because these things are current and important issues, again, I just think it just adds to the level of interest there. Okay, as well as talking about geography and the content and why it's an interesting subject, also a little bit about the student support that we offer. I think that we offer great support to our A-level geographers, and we do that through the really good teaching team that we have, who are very supportive, but also through the resources that we will provide for you. Things like resources on Schoology and Google Classroom that we've created and shared for you. Resources that we've created and shared for you via Quizlet, other platforms that we use like Seneca. Like I say, a really good team who are subject specialists, and where possible are actually teaching the units specifically that they're interested in, and that they have depth of knowledge in. So you'll be taught, for example, globalization by people who are really interested in and experts in globalization, and you'll be taught tectonics by people who are really interested in it and an expert in that particular unit. You will need some resources of your own as well, of course, to support you. The course text that we recommend is the Oxford A-level geography text here. Obviously, it would be impossible to talk about geography and A-level geography without talking about fieldwork. It always has been and will continue to be a vital part of what we do. Even in the last year, with all that's been going on, we have still managed to do fieldwork despite all the problems that have been thrown at us. And in the future, as we return to a greater degree of normality, that will only increase again. We do both urban and coastal fieldwork in Devon, Dorset and Bristol. There is an element of residential fieldwork which we will undertake as well, 2-day residential, which is a brilliant opportunity because we really get to spend a lot of time collecting data in the field and then having the opportunity to go back to the centre and process that data, analyse it and see what it means. And it's just a really fun opportunity as well. So all of these things will continue to go ahead, and they really bring the subject to life, and again develop important skills, give you the chance to work with people, and you know, this is vital for a number of different reasons. One, because fieldwork skills and collecting primary data are important geographical skills. Two, because it actually really gets you to see in real life what's happening, which makes it much more real. And finally, because it's essential really for supporting your coursework, your independent investigation you carry out as well. Just to talk about that briefly, that's a brilliant thing. You get a really good range of choice as to what you decide to investigate and how you do it. That can be a challenge, it does make it more difficult, but it also makes it incredibly rewarding, and it develops some brilliant skills that will be really useful to you later on as well. So a really fantastic thing. We've had some amazing work produced by our students over the last few years in that. You might also want to think about, okay, what if I'm going to study geography, what am I going to do with that afterwards? It is, I think, one of the subjects that lends itself to a really wide range of future careers because of the variety of skills it develops. And here are just a few examples here. This is not intended to be an exhaustive list. So really great subject, and you can take it in the direction you want depending on whether you're more interested in physical and human geography, or particular elements of it grab you and you can move in different directions with it. Okay, so finally, why would you choose to do geography at Hayesfield? Well, just to reiterate a few things I've already said, we've got a really good teaching team who are experts in their field and very supportive. We create a supportive environment for you, and active and engaging lessons. We've got a history of getting excellent results here at Hayesfield as well. So all of these things hopefully will lead you to think that actually geography may be the right choice for you, and you would like to join us here at Hayesfield for that as well. So that pretty much brings it to a close. I really hope to see lots of you next year doing A-level geography, and in the meantime, if you want to find out more, please get in touch with me, Mark Weston at Hayesfield School, Head of Geography, or talk if you're a Hayesfield student to one of your geography teachers. Okay, thank you very much.